يكأي يخستيني التكت يوهان الشيش وجين خاستي تخيات كأوا يا كتات هاوتين قويك تين تلبنخ أدي قويك تخساو كأيا أدي يو أبسنية يا أتين أتوي خاجي خساوتي يكأي أتخا يا يأوي أدي يجدونية يا هناخ ستي التكت توي قويك تنخ أقا قنخ أتخ ستي يا جيس أتو أيا داك داكاسي أو سني أقا يساكو أيا قايا تسوى سا يكواتي أتايا قش كيجين غاو قنيا وخي أقا أوي ويخانا هي أقا أوي أخدو شغاوي تتات ينيجي وني يا جنكات كديخ غاو خنخ وكيخا قنخ يا يجي خاساكو يا كغشتقيخ قشتقيخ يا حسوساكو يكي جادو ساي توسكو حسوساكو كنقيخ يا وقت توسكو قاقوش هيتا يا ويتا قداسا خدخي ووست خا ساكو كنقيخ خا ساكو دي كي يا قيق das hat ach Shania Nick here where that you the time ka ach shakik the chun ayatetsu ach jin yanik ach jin with the chun. Oops. Yeah. Okay. What was I talking about?
Talk about voting.
Yeah, voting. So, what is this one? We know. Vote. Command form. Vote. Says, throw the names of people. That's what you say. That was a little different.
Did you vote?
Did you vote? Okay. And I would say already. Did you already vote or vote already? I guess that's how the English should go. So this is a command form. This is a perfective second person. You did it. If you put day right before a perfective verb, it means already happened. I could say, for example, you can't say this at Ḳukahaa. Gwashastu tuasaku ijit askawati yeyanaka gunash chish. Tashak tuashku yayikai. Tashak tuashku gunash chish. Okay. Something in like a little baseball stadium. Okay. What did I just say?
Recording in progress.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I said it is, if you're at a peak, it is not right to refuse anything they offer to give. If you are a guest, anything they want to give you, you have to accept. The correct answer is gunash chish. Even if, like, let's say, pickles. what's the verb supposed to be? Ḳukahaa. Ushte. There you go. It tastes bad to me. If I said Ḳu'éexʼ, don't do this ever, because it would be so mean. And someone gave me a pickle, I would say, Gunnar cheese. And I would take a bite of that pickle. It's very rude to refuse things at a Ḳu'éexʼ. It is also rude to refuse things at someone's house. If they're an indigenous person of this area, you go into their house, they offer you food or water, take the thing. But if it's someone you know, and they said they offer you some food, you could say, Ţukahaa. What do you think that means? Smart peoples? Ţukahaa.
I've already eaten.
Already eaten. So that's what the day does, right? Here's another one. I told someone something because I thought I was being smart. And they told me, néekw.
They already know.
I already know it. Oops.
In all caps. Yelling.
Mistake. Okay.
Don't need to yell.
Need to fight over that. Jeez. Okay. What am I doing? Okay. So now let's get to these. What about choon and néekw?
My head hurts. My head is sick.
I have a headache, right? Usually that, yes, so you're right. My head hurts, my head is sick. So néekw is sickness or hurt, pain. What about ċhakíq with the choon? The difference? No, this choon verb.
Does it mean my head is injured?
Yes. So what a choon is injured. So this would actually be the top of my head is injured, right? So if you have things, and so néekw, what would that be?
My hand is hurt.
My hand hurts. Achin with the choon.
My hand is injured.
My hand is injured, right? So these do different things. Néekw is usually, if you're comes after a body part, is just general pain, right? And I have an auntie, and her mom was quite a bit older when she started raising her, and so she was hanging out with her friends, and they were all some older folks. And she was saying, "Oh, show the people you know how to speak Tlingit." And she must have got it from her mom because she's like, "Achkiyanik, achdichyanik, achikyanik." So it's like, my knee hurts, my back hurts, my shoulder hurts, and everybody just laughed, because they're like she was sounding like a yindishinia, like a aging person. But néekw, sometimes when you get néekw after certain body parts, you do have certain types of things. So sak da'it to néekw would be da'it to néekw. I'll check the spelling. But that would be, what do you think the parts are while I check the spelling? What's da'it? Anybody know da'it? Da'it.
It's just a body.
Body. Then you got to néekw. Body, inside, pain. Arthritis, right? And so sometimes when you get néekw on certain things, it is a specific type of malady, injury, thing that we deal with. So néekw would just be like, my hand hurts, like it's sore, something, try to pull to, whatever the thing is. If you work for the Alaska Marine Highway, wintertime, trying to pull in those lines sometimes. You gotta grab that thing real hard. But when you say with the chun, that means there's some kind of injury, right? So that's different than just general pain. But then you also usually get pretty specific areas, right? Okay, and you could also say khat with the chun. My God, Howie. Okay? Thoughts, questions? Okay. It's been a little while since we've done any of these, so I think we'll do a few of them. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we do that, one order of business. Tomorrow's a Super Smash class. If you can make it, it will be physically next door and online using our same link. And that would be 5:30 to 7:30. So there will be no class for us on Thursday. Come next week, we're going to be taking a whole bunch of this stuff that we've been learning, and we're going to look at a story called Ţaukha. What is Ṭaukha? Anybody know that?
Mosquito.
Mosquito, right? So we're going to look at that story. You guys might look at it tomorrow too. And then next week, we're going to look at several versions of it, focusing on memorizing and also just digesting whole language and like a cooked down version of it. So there's a project that's going on with Gold Belt Heritage Foundation, Tlingit Haida, and UAS, where we're taking a set of stories. We've got like the full size, big, beefy version from the speaker. Complex sentences, long, complex topics. And then we're going to have like the full version. So then we're going to have like, let's say that story is 200 lines long. Then we'll cut it down. We'll have a 100-line version that is for advanced Tlingit learners. Then we'll have a 50-line version that's for intermediate language learners, where some of the complexity might be simplified. So it wouldn't really sound like the way storytellers tell stories. Then there'll be a 20-sentence version that will be radically simplified and will just be a skeleton of that story. But the idea is to have like a starting point, an intermediate point, an advanced point, and the full point so that you can really learn these stories. And so we're excited about that. We got about 9 stories so far we're going to start with, probably do a few more. And so maybe tomorrow, but definitely next week, we'll be looking at those iterations of Ṭaukha. And we'll be looking at these possessive, these relational suffixes. We're going to go over some directional stuff today. And we're going to start seeing how those things start combining and functioning in the language by reading sentences and then seeing them kind of blown apart. The blowing apart is to show you like all these little things and how they start interacting. And all these conversations are leading us up to getting to just messing around with the verbs. You guys are getting close to that point where like, here's all the things in the language except the verb. And not like you know them all, but you know what they are. You've got lists to go practice. And now we start focusing on the verb. We shift our focus in the second semester to verbs, whole language, listening, speaking, responding a lot more. Okay, so who wants to read these 2 sentences?
Ḳukahaa ahi skunde kwagut.
Sheesh. And what do we have?
My teeth.
Well, the second sentence is they're going to school. They're going to go to school.
Gonna go to school. Then we got 2 tentacles on the top. Ḳukahaa and Āxyīt. Right? So I like to think of these things like néekw, because sometimes they can move around. You could say Āxyīt Ḳukahaa. Doesn't matter. Well, I won't say it doesn't matter. Why would you put one of them first instead of the other? Yes, the most important thing always comes first. So what do you think achit is?
Is that one my nephew?
It's not your nephew, but it's your something.
Child?
Son.
My son.
It's your child. I think I heard it. My son. Someone said son. Son. So yes, my son. That gets us to usk. And I'll show you there's one other way. Anybody know? There's another way to say this. Oops. Hold on. Here's another way you could say this. You're saying the same thing.
Is it he's brushing his teeth?
He is brushing his teeth, right? So in Tlingit, on a verb, you have different types of suffix that talk about repetition. Repetition is really important in Tlingit. And you got kind of, I guess I'd say 3 major types of repetition. One is, does it every time. I get up in the morning, I make coffee every day, right? So that's an every time thing. That's usually a CH, right? Let me just make a little note of these. Even now they won't, let's see them some more. Yeah, CH. The other ones are like sometimes a K and sometimes a T. And like this KW is doing that as well. And they have kind of different functions. Well, I guess, let me back up a little bit. So there's this other one, which is an underline X, or usually a K. And this means happens regularly, right? So if I said, I eat cornflakes every morning, that would be Ḳukahaa. And then if, there's a different form to say, like, I eat it regularly. So you could say, like, happens regularly, or happens every single time. The other type of repetition really has to do with something that is a single act that is made up of a bunch of little movements, like brushing, sweeping. So Tlingit looks at those things and says, yes, they are doing it, and it's also this thing that's happening in a bunch of little motions. That's what the KW is doing on there. Usk, just like, and you can also, so see this right here? What is that? Teeth or tooth. When you put it onto a verb, which can go right there, it shortens. So you go from to But this is putting it right into the prefix of the verb, which you can do. Because, for example, if you did this, what do you think that's saying?
Washing your hands?
They are washing their hands, right? And so the verb is washing. It's not brushing, right? Yeah, so we were laughing because we were saying, "Wachash, I'm going to brush," which is, chash is like brush, like you take a bunch of brush from a tree or something. And so you're just kidding. So those are 2 different ways you could say it. And this one, it is showing usk.
What did you hear?
Okay. My son is brushing his teeth. He is going to go to school. Can I get someone to read this? Okay. What do we got here? Picture helps.
See.
Say it again.
Oops.
Can't hear you. Like, dich, nask, dachun. You do have 4 things, although on kadekwagut, I guess is just one thing. You can't say kakwagut on kade. Maybe I would not recommend it at all. On dekwagut, when you have like motion, wherever that thing is going needs to come right before it. But what's on kade? What's on ka? Yankaya on
The surface of the land.
is. Juno, UAS, Kesh on Ḳukahaa. Pelminis Koa on Ḳukahaa.
Ah,
Airport.
like town.
Yes, like, and it depends. Like that could be to town or it could be downtown.
Ah,
She's going to town. And what's she do? What's she doing right now? Look at the picture.
Oh, she's brushing her hair, yeah.
She's combing her hair. Okay, she is combing her hair. And that's a different verb, right? We might not have seen that verb, and I'm going to show you something here. Okay, so here's the sentence that we just did. Or these two. Shaksayak. Oh, what's achkashk? Who's brushing their hair? Who's going to town? My. Oh, we have to do kinship in here? Okay. Okay. See how it is. It's niece. Okay. So now we got to do this. This is important. You're going to Ḳuéexʼ, you better know this. Here's two different things. What's different about them? Achkashk, achkashk. There's only
Maternal,
one thing that you could boss around in public.
maternal niece and paternal.
Which one is which?
Kosh is maternal.
Paternal. You're raven, they're eagle. You're eagle, they're raven. Or raven wolf. And then kashk, same side. In public, you can only boss around. When I say public, like at Ḳuéexʼ, like just came from one Yaktat, thinking about it all the time. That's why you have a nakani, right? So if the host is Tlingit, which is a raven clan, all the guests are eagles, right? Chukanidi, Wushkitan, Kagwantan, Gashyach Kagwantan, Jishkwedi, they're all sitting in the middle. They shouldn't have to get up for anything. Everything gets given to them. Here's food, here's coffee, here's wine, here's snacks. But you hire a nakani, right? It'll be all over the place. I should really put these on my notes. I'm gonna try a transition here. Can I just, okay, give me a second. Okay, so nakani, Ḳuéexʼ, Kosh. Because I can't put notes on here because I just erase them later. Okay. Now let me switch out of here. Okay, so coming back to our notes, what is nakani? It's Culture Day. Oh, sorry, say it again.
Clan opposite, but it has a formal role in Ḳuéexʼ and other, sometimes I would say, I don't know,
Right.
modified traditions.
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
add some Ḳuéexʼ.
So they hire someone from the opposite clan to run their Ḳuéexʼ, to explain to the people what's happening and to tell them what to do. Because you can't tell your opposites what to do. In public, like if you're married or whatever, like in private, that's you. But in public, for example, and this is sensitive, I was at a Ḳuéexʼ, somebody did something that they shouldn't do. You're not supposed to throw things at people. They're just being fun. Throw a bag of chips. People are enjoying it. Yeah, I'll catch it. I was like, but I can't. But I was in another community, and here's another big rule: don't tell them how to run their Ḳuéexʼ. If they ask, go ahead. But you want to go up there and say, you know what, you're doing it wrong. Bad. But this young person was an Eagle clan. So I went and found my friend who's also Eagle clan and said, hey, it's not right. They're throwing food at the people. So he went and had a conversation, fix it. People being too loud while you're making the money announcements, that's why you have the Nakani. Quiet down, everybody. Okay, so we had this, Akash, my paternal niece, nephew. There's no gender in that term. And then if you go down to the one below it, now we have maternal, right? Same clan, opposite clan. Very, very important. Also, I want to show you folks one thing with this. Oops, let's drop it down. Okay, so we have this. They're combing their hair. That's fine. On kadik kogu. If I made this into it already happened, it would look like this. It goes through some changes. Shikaodziya. It's probably actually low. So the reason I wanted to show you this is because sometimes when you have two A's at the end of a verb, so that verb is open and you close it, this is the way it goes. Will become A. That is something that happens, right? For example, ye yawaqa. They said this thing. But you could also say, you ye, oh, how was it? You ye, cake, I think. But so that to A, that is something that happens. You also have, ooh. Did anybody know this test was coming? What's awshiqu? Dakach awshiqu. Qoinatin. What's a qoina? Qoina. Towel? What do you do with the towel?
Wiping something?
Yes. They wiped it. And then if you go, ye anas queen, they are wiping it. I can only type and talk if I close one of my eyes.
What would you say if you were like drying something with a towel?
You would say, ya anas hook, if it's happening right now. So hook is to dry something. Queen is to wipe it. So that's mopping, wiping. Usually has, and so coming back to like kind of cleaning, it's another cleaning type of thing. But then this one you go from qu to queen. So when you close an open verb that ends with it switches to a. And when you close one that ends with oo, it switches to way. This is just stuff that happens. You will start to see it. Just want to make sure that you saw it on here as I took a million notes that I'll now erase. Just gonna go to town. Okay. We also need that. What this one? Can someone read that?
Jinda usk du dachchan at Ḳukahaa.
Goodness, sheesh. Yeah, what do we got?
Washing your hands?
What's it?
Washing your hands?
They're washing their hands. Part number one. What
Their
about
grandchild?
their grandchild? And the third part?
We're gonna eat.
They're gonna eat. Yeah. Okay. Sheesh. Okay. Next up. What's this called?
Yuck.
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 Yeah, well. And how do I say mine?
Ugh, yuck.
Yaku.
That would be my boat.
Yeah, yuck. Yaku.
If you were really tiny and you use that little shell, maybe. What's the little tiny thing? My kid always wants, I was like, why do I buy the little tiny thing? We are going to lose that little person.
Mini brands?
What's that called?
Mini brands, or is it like Shopkins or something?
Yeah, they sit in a little car or something.
Oh, Polly Pocket?
That's it, Polly Pocket. Polly Qash too. Any other takers? Ugh. It's not rounded.
Yaki.
Yeah, and the K's got to change.
Yuggy.
Yagi.
Yagi. Look at y'all.
Yagi.
You haven't even done this stuff in like a week and still got it. 2 weeks maybe? Brilliant. Seek.
See.
It was mine.
Secret.
Seeki. Gotta go high-low though. High-low. Seeki. Always gotta watch that tone. Watch that tone with me. Sorry. That's what you have to call.
Donna.
Yeah, well. We have an exception. What if it's, you'll get none if you can't say it right. Just kidding. How do you say mine? My money.
Danai.
We're getting close. We're still not getting paid. Ach,
Achtanayi.
Donaghy. Donaghy. It's got that ending. Chita, chutta, chusha, kuhida. It's going to all be short and low. It's going to override all the rules. It's just like, I do my own thing.
So would you say like Tua Sugu Danai Yidut?
Donaghy. Kutsuach Donaghy.
Did you say Yidut now?
Yidut.
Now?
Yidut. Kakde.
Yidut? Alongside with
Yidut is right now.
Yidut.
Yidut is now. Yidut is right now. Kakde is hurry up. And then Yakukwash is I'm going to punch you in the face. That's what you have to call. What's that do, Sak?
Kawut.
Woot. And if it's mine, Kawuti. T to a D. Okay. Kutzagate, Akatash, Smarty Pants. This, yeah, what?
That looks like out the window right now.
I know, it's like a big old moon, like right, it's right over there.
Oh, yeah.
And also, if you say like, "There's the moon way over there," you do this. I think that's funny. I offended there was a clan, and I didn't offend them. They thought it was funny because they have this hit. I was like, "You guys should build one right over there. Call it dot hits." Thank you, okay. And if it's mine, which you can't own it. Do you guys know this is Raven's uncle? Do you know that?
Really deep Raven lore.
The old name of the moon. Anybody know?
One who changes the tides.
Ḳukahaa. Yep. Tide Commander.
I remember you saying this one. I don't think it was one of these classes. I think it was like it was a different class. But I remember he's talking about it.
He defeated him.
Dizzy?
This.
Oh, it's still
Look, it's a different moon. I don't know what happened. Okay. Ooh. It's tree day. Hey, shish. It's mine.
Shiji? Shiji.
Yeah, there's no voice pair for that one. So keshishi. Keshishi, shishi, right? Land or town?
On.
On.
It's mine?
Ani.
Ani, right? Just like ha'ani, ha'tatki, ha'kusti. These all follow the same set of rules. Ha'shitsini.
Gish.
Mine?
Kishi.
Kishi. Yetkwa.
Gun.
Short.
Gun.
Gun.
Oh, gun.
It's mine. Gunny. Okay. Satu sabyata. Cost. Mine.
Kaste.
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 Yeah. Shayet. Shayet. Yeah. What? Mine.
Shayedi.
Shayeti. Yeah. What?
What's the breakdown on that one? It's head laying thing. Is that it? Because does it do the to a thing?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sha yi.
Oops, well, let's get to this shayet. There's a whole bunch of things. If you have ye and ut, you get yate. Whole bunch of them. So usually when two vowels encounter each other, they'll usually change. Especially like this thing is called, this body part right here is called sa. If you have something on there, ut, sa ut, put them together, sate. That's where that word comes from, right? So to a is really common. It goes the other way too.
Hey, look.
Heat.
Heat. Mine?
Akidi.
Akidi. Gwash yisikuke. Each. Kainacha akach. Shakich. Shtekatas to kina. Nu kakawu. You do a soft. Nu kakawu. Did I say that?
The big head.
Let me say it one more time. Yisikuke. Each. Each shakit kainach away. Shtekat has to kina. Has to shed the hanichsati. Nu kakawu. You do a sock. Nu kakawu. I said it differently.
On the reef.
On the reef.
The king of the place.
The one sitting on the top of the reef, above all the others, is the leader, and it's called, I said the name 4 times. Listening exercise. Kawu. Ka. Kakawu. There's one more word right before that.
Nuka.
Kakawu. The person on the top of the fort. Nu Kakawu. That's the name of that big sea lion who's the boss.
Can you spell it? Yeah, would you be able to get that in the notes?
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Nichankawu.
So here's Nu Kakawu. Good thing, right? Sea lion leader, champion. You gotta fight your way to the top. What's Nietzsche Kakawu?
Man on the beach.
Man on the beach, you bastard. Like literal in the literal, I guess that's, I don't know. Doesn't mean, I guess, in the way that that's an insult in English, because I think it literally means like a fatherless person, just mean. But in Tlingit, it means like you just live on the beach, you got no house.
What about son of a beach? Son of the beach.
That's really good.
I've heard an elder.
But okay, so there is, this is another term, néekw, child on the beach.
That's not the same, is it?
My understanding of this term is as someone who was specifically not ever able to be on yeti.
Is it like an orphan? Nietzsche?
It's like you're a low person in the clan. But I've heard someone use it before, like they're just néekw. It's like, yeah. I wonder what that means. It's too good of a conversation.
What would give you that title?
Huh?
I mean, what would give you that title?
Like the niche is really, okay, so let's stay on the beach for a little while.
Beach episode.
First of all, there's two ways to say beach. Niche, ik. Let me check my tone real quick because sometimes I forget. Ha! Nailed it. Okay. Niche and ik. They both mean the beach. Why would Tlingit have two words for the beach?
Tide and low tide.
There's Llain, which would be down on the tide flats. But this is just general, and also, these are not any beach. It's a specific beach. So now I've got two questions. Why are there two, and what specific beach are we talking about? This will transition us into the next thing after our break.
Like a sandy beach versus a rocky beach.
Good guess. Ḳuéexʼ Tlingit hasawsakuwini Ţukahaa. Ṭukahaa Tlingit Ḥuatkush Tlilkadin hasawaskuwan qanins. Tlilnich Ḳusit. Yach. What am I saying?
Around the land? Around the land?
Not on.
I don't know how to change
Is
the name on here.
one of them exact, like the place where the water actually meets the beach?
Another good guess, but not quite.
You say something about a lake?
Yes. Ţukahaa Tlingit Ḥunachawi hasawsaku Nich. Ṭukahaa Tlingit wan qanins Tlilkadin hasawasku. Dot Tlilnich Ḳusit. Yach. Trying to give you guys all the hints. Challenge day. Ykwadek. And an elder comes to me and said, Ikwadek. I'm going to challenge you. He said something really difficult. I'm thinking, it's like,
Tka in the interior.
yes. Tlilkadin has awasku Nich.
Tlashnish. Interior.
Yawa.
Dot around the lake.
Yach.
Ayach.
That would be the beach of the lake. So this is a certain type of beach. Both of them, Nich and Ik. What's it talking about?
Saltwater and freshwater.
Saltwater beach. Okay. Yeah, look how smart we are.
Crazy, I did that.
Okay. Gwash. Nich cut away. Wa'eh. Ejit chachdetan. Gusu wa'eh. Nich cut. Nich kach chatyati. Nich. Gwash yak eati. UAS. Kesh nich. Ituasuku adeyigu diqoa. Ejit chachdetan. Good day sah wa'eh. Iqte yanagut. And this would also be iq. Oh, you got all the hints. But Tlingit does this with a couple of different things. You can only niche, technically, on the niche. So this is the beach from the beach. This is the beach from the inland. And there's actually one more. What do you think it is?
Oh, from the sea,
Yes, beach.
where you land.
And does anybody know it? You will after today. Yun. So some of these directional things, it matters where you're at. I don't remember how we got here. What were we doing?
Person of the beach and son of
Oh,
the beach.
yeah. Okay. It was son of a beach that got us down this way. Okay. My family really loved to play cribbage. My mom and my brother were playing cribbage. And he throws down like this 23 hand, like this huge hand. And she goes, "Oh, you son of a bitch." And I said, "Mom, that's your son." Okay. So now we got niche, right? So there is this phrase, a niche. A niche is actually an adverb, right? So an adverb in Tlingit appears right before the verb. So right before the verb, a niche. What this means is for nothing, in vain. So you could say, a niche. Oops. Ḳukahaa khat yitlaqi. You tried to defeat me. It was all for nothing. It's good trash talk right there. So just on the beach means like in vain, right? So it's like it's just abandoned there. Nichka. Now you got nichkakawu, nichkayedi. And I think that is said because like if you ain't got no house, you just go sleep on the beach. Oh, something like that. Okay.
So is Ňíčka is
There's
that kind of like opposite of on Yeti?
I think so. And so I'll try and find out a bit more about it. Because there is one more though, which is a good thing. Niche kateye. Sometimes that's what they call Raven. Because Raven was born from a stone on the beach. I don't know. Niche kateye is pretty cool. And there's te in that relational form. We can see the matrix now. Was there another question?
yeah, a beach food. That phrase, I know it in English, but
Oh, they usually call it, I think it's called niche kaati.
and my understanding is a relationship between niche ka'adi and niche kayadi, which wow, sounds amazing when I hear it.
Yeah, right?
About in the old days that one should not, well-to-do people should not eat too much beach food because it will make you a pauper. Have you heard that?
Well, so the icht, the medicine people, never ate anything off the beach. Would never do it. And sometimes if you are in mourning, you will, this friend of mine, when his dad died, he says, "I'm not eating foods off the beach right now." But he did after the Ḳuéexʼ. So yeah, beach foods are specifically something some people will refrain from. And then, in Haida too, you've got stories too of like this person who ate too many urchins and then they end up with spines going through their cheeks. Okay, a couple more, then we'll take a break.
I thought I'd heard nothing slimy from the ocean is what it was described to me as.
Sometimes, right after someone passes away, you're not supposed to go near anything slimy on the ocean because you might slip and fall. Because sometimes when someone passes away, that door is just kind of open, and then usually you see more people go through it.
Nichkatei. What's the ka part?
We're gonna learn that after a break.
Yeah.
Okay, what's this thing called?
On.
If it's mine,
On B.
Chtani.
right? Okay. Néekw. Yain. Yeah away. Yeah away. Okay. If it's mine,
Yeni.
Yaini. So if you're not sure, you've got to go for it because you can't. You think maybe it's Yaini, right? So you can't do that. You gotta go Yaini. Question. Yeah, Yaini. Two more. Gooch. It's mine.
Gucci.
Gucci. Right, and there's a song that says Gucci yanade huwa aha, right, towards his wolf.
Nadak.
Nadak. Okay. And if it's mine, Nadaku. Okay, let's switch. Last one.
Usk douche.
Douche. And then if it's, well, it would be douche yeti, but we'll just say douche for now. And if it's mine?
Douchey.
Douchey. Yeah. Oh, look at those double A's at the end. Mine?
Kutiyayi.
Kutiyaye.
Tiyayi.
And pull it up at the end. Kutiyaye. Like kutiyaye. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Take 5, and we're going to come back and switch gears and do direction and location.
Oh my goodness. Never realized there is so.
Okay. Geez, let me switch cameras. So, now we did nouns. We did putting suffixes on nouns. You'll start to see them more, like little possessive or little plural relational, right? So those are the 3 suffixes that there's others. We'll learn some others right now that you can put onto nouns. But the next phase kind of in our study is location and direction. Coming, going, where things are located. And it's a big part of, like all languages, like it's a big part of how languages work. On, under, around, all those different things. So we're going to learn these principles in Tlingit, and then there's these lists of things to memorize. And what we have tried to do in Ḥukahaa, which maybe we'll get before the semester ends, I better order them, is to arrange them by the ones that I think are the most common. And then sort of there's some that are not as common, like down the beach from, or, up the inland from. Like it gets very specific in Tlingit. The ocean is really, really important. Even for inland Tlingit speakers, it's as if when you're speaking Tlingit, you are standing right on the edge of the ocean, right? And you go dock out to sea, and you go dock to the inland. But there, that's your body. So we're going to learn how these things work. And then there are lists, but like you got to use the lists to sort of like memorize the stuff. Like you just got to learn what these ones are. But then I think to get out of the sort of fragmented part of learning where you've got like this table, that table, this table, we're going to go into Ţaha next week and start looking at the whole story and pulling everything apart and color coding it so we can see how these things are working in the language. Always ask questions if you got them. We're just going to roll through this for the next 50 minutes or so. Okay. Oh, I see a hand up. Wasa?
Yeah, I have a question. If just back for a second, about if you have a noun that already has a relational suffix on the end, how do you possess that noun? Like, and am I correct in thinking beaver has a relational suffix on the end? Sick 80.
Yeah. So yeah, for that one, you wouldn't have to add anything to it.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, good question. Great question. Okay. So the first thing, there are 3 main categories of direction and location. And they have to be the set of things that are in relation to the speaker. So whoever's talking has a right here, over there, way over there type of thing. The second is between 2 different things. So now you could be between them, under, over, around, that kind of stuff. The third one is these fixed points in the universe. Niche, the key, dock, right? And so some of these things, they're just fixed. And like they're not only different as far as a concept, but they're different in the ways they function in the language. So we're going to take a look at that. Oh, I got this other stuff on there, I guess. And then I guess just continuing to think about Tlingit, it is often a bunch of small things that smush together and then create, that's how meaning is created. A lot of indigenous Native American languages work that way. Tlingit also tends to classify things an awful lot. So like, oh, you got plural? We got to change it. Oh, there's an empty box? Got to change it. Oh, there's a full box? Got to change it. Pronouns are built into the verbs, which we'll get to, and the verbs conjugate for event instead of time. I think I put this on there like years ago to do like a general overview of Tlingit. So let's take a look at these ones that are relative to the speaker. We've already learned these, but we're just going to see them again so we can say, okay, we've done these. This is a whole set of them, and here they are. So things right next to you, you say, everybody say it, yeah.
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 He. 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 We. 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 You. 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 So these are also time markers. That's why you're saying things like ya yi dat, ya yi gi for right now and for today, right? This day right here. Yu is often like way long time ago or like long time from now. And these Tlingit does not have articles. What's an article?
A.
C or N, right? Like Hawaiian, you must have articles in front of nouns. It's ka or ke, right? So you see a bunch of things with ka something, kalua, and that's the. So Tlingit does not have articles. It does not use them. But it does, you can use these, and we call them determiners, which doesn't matter what they're called. What matters is what they do. So you could say, yakuka, this cup. Heguka, that cup that's right there. It's just there. Weguka, that cup over there. Yuguka. There are some things that are specifically associated with specific ones, like Yu-Yesh. You'll hear that a lot in the raven stories. That raven way over there. I don't know why they call him that. So here's an example of that. Yats'ao. So here's the speaker right next to them. Hets'ao. Closer to them than the other person. It's there, but it's not immediately there. Wes'ao. It's over there. Yuts'ao. It's way over there. So that's how they work. You can also, we're going to see you can attach a whole bunch of things to these. Yade, yacht, yank, yadu. We'll see a whole bunch of those. But for now, we're just learning like what the sets are. And then there's one more, which is this area around us, which is ha. Sometimes you get an N right there at the end, right? For example, here's these people, and they might say, hagu, come over here. And then hade, over this way. Hatia, y'all come over here, right? So then if that person comes over there, Yeke hot yigudi. It's good that you came here. Hot yigudi. But you'll see like hagu, hade, hot. Right? And we learn what the difference is between those. It's a suffix. We're not doing suffixes yet. We'll get there. That's all of those ones, relative to the speaker. It's always relative to who is talking. Okay? Now, between two objects, the relationship between them. So this is a chart that I made. I have to take a look at it, see if it's still, might need some adjustments. There's a few of these that are a little tricky and that we'll talk about. Just because the way that the Tlingit mind works just sees things different. Like every language sees things different, right? Okay, let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. And so we're going to go through and learn what some of these are. And this is, intended to show you. And it's a little bit iffy, I guess. So you have a hyphen, and that means it is a suffix. You have a longer dash, that means it's a word, but it needs a word right before it that it relates to. So one of the things with these types of things that's different between English and Tlingit is you would say on the table. So it usually requires an article, right? You see my keys? On table, right? It doesn't work very well. On the table. The other thing that doesn't work very well is if someone says, hey man, see my keys? Table on. That's how Tlingit works. Noun first, then this thing, which we call, in English they call them a preposition, because it comes before the noun. So in Tlingit we call it a postposition, because it comes after the noun. So you just got to remember that. Noun first. Néekw, on the table. On the land. Néekw, on the beach. Right? So you've got, we call these relational nouns. That just means it needs another noun to belong to. The other thing that's different with these from English and Tlingit is, I think English uses an object pronoun, on me, on them, on you. Tlingit would use a possessive or relational pronoun, ach ka, I ka, do ka, right? So that's also different. Because if that were translated directly into English, it'd be my on, your on, their on. Okay? Everybody good? So just going through these real quick. There's tables of them that we'll look at, start to go through. You have things like inside, a closed container, or an abstract concept. Ituyeyeti hagilchatungi. Our language is inside of you. We have on, which is also in an open container. That's how it works. If you want to say pour it in the cup, you're going to say Ďukahaa. That's just how it works. But they're not going to just like pour it all over the cup. They're just going to pour it into the cup because it just makes sense in Tlingit. Talk is the bottom of a cavity, like a body of water between two cliffs. And then there's other things that surprisingly have a talk, like your eyeball and a fire. Ak is like between two things. Ak is next to something. Then you get some of these. Yin is downwards, kin is upwards. Nach is through, day is towards, dach is away from, da is around, take is behind, tayi is beneath. Yik is in a shallow container. Daki is up above. Yah is the face of something. And so this is designed to just give you like a quick visual to help you remember. But we're going to walk through them. Yaudane, what's up?
So seeing that kin is up yin is downward. Is that why we'd refer to Satan as the yi on Kawu rather than the ki on Kawu?
Yes. So yeah, those are certainly translated from Christian concepts of person above, or person way up high, person way below. Yeah. And what you're going to see is the letter K for upwards, the letter Y for downwards. Kinde, yinde, diki, yi, K, ye, right? That's just how the thing works, right? There's a bunch of these things too that are kind of opposite concepts. We'll run into a whole bunch of them. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about relational nouns and suffixes. So as I was sort of looking through this stuff and looking through the list of things and how these things were being proposed to be taught in what was at the time intermediate Tlingit by Nora and Richard Dowenhauer, which became Hausa néekw. I was initially like reformatting intermediate Tlingit, then they started adding to it, they started changing it, and then Richard Dowenhauer said, this is cool, just do your own thing, so that it's not intermediate Tlingit anymore. And so there's a couple of different ways that I look at these things. So I like to use the term relational noun for a word that needs another word to belong to, but you can't really put a suffix on there. You can with this one, but you usually don't. For example, shagun. And there's a couple of these terms. So like you could say, yagucha shagun, the shagun of this cup. Now I might tell you how they invented it. I might tell you like where it came from, right? And if you say ach shagun, my shagun, that means my ancestry, my lineage. So if I said that to you, you would start to expect, okay, they're going to talk about their mom, their dad, their family tree, basically. Ha-shagun is our ancestors. But it's also everything we've ever been, everything we are right now, everything we will become. So there are some of these things where if you put ha in front of it, it becomes sort of a proper noun type of thing. So then there's ones that I call relational bases. And I call it a base because you can put a suffix on there, and you do a lot. For example, khan is near, out the house of, by. Like that's how you'd say to go visit someone. Achlik, khande kakwakut, and go visit my grandparent. So here's some examples. Akhande nagu, khant uwagut. Then da, around or about, concerning. Kesh idat at aya, it's none of your business. Sha da yehawuti, we were around the mountain. We were living there. We were staying there. Okay? So we're starting to see how they work. Suffixes. So a suffix attaches to a noun. This set of suffixes that we're going to look at now have to do with where things are at or going, right? They can attach to a noun, or there's this thing we're going to learn about called an empty base, right? Like when I say ye-een, that een part means with you. Ye eat, arriving at you. Ye day, going towards you all. Okay? Because you can't really put suffixes onto pronouns. You can't really put suffixes onto people's names. Like you wouldn't say chone day. You'd say chone day to chone's hand, and you give him all the dry fish. Or you'd say chone day to his mouth, and you give him even more dry fish. You won't. So the way some of these work is you got hit, right? House. Hit day, towards the house. Neekw, home. Neekw, they are at home. Kahwe, coffee. Ká-hué-ká, going after coffee. Hitdach, from the house. Hityinach, through the house. Yadach wugut, they left from here. So what we're doing, we're just learning these concepts. The idea wasn't to memorize all of this stuff, just to say, here's some examples of how this stuff works. So that gets us to, let me look this up a little bit. Here's your main suffixes that you're going to use when talking about direction and location. Okay? The first one is dach, which is from. It could also mean since, right? So you could say, Ḳukahaa dach, from the time I was cooking dinner. And you have something else that you might have to say about it. Okay? If dach attaches to a vowel, it might optionally contract to just tx. That's why you can say qudach or qudch. But most people wouldn't say qudach ayanaha for stars. They'd say qudch ayanaha. They move too much, you can't count them. That's what it's talking about. There are a couple of things that it will contract just to the letter, the ch. But that's usually like kach, from on top of, yach, from the face of, ach, off of it. Okay? The opposite of dach is day, towards. And that could also mean until, right? So hiddach, from the house, hiddei, towards the house. And talking about suffixes, here's one of the rules. Open suffixes are the opposite of the vowel before it. Just like that relational one. Hitti, hitday, neeshday, that's how they're going to work. If they are closed, they'll be short and high every time. Just like this one. Nach, through, along, via, including the time of, right? Einach, through the mouth. Jinach, through my hand, like it went right through my possession. I had $50, now it's gone. In my belly, right? Then you have w or This one gets like these bars around it because this is usually not used with a verb. Very short form. Weiduhu, there they are. Gusuhu, where are they? Keshyatu, they're not here. But it's not, you can't use this one. Yadu, verb. It's not going to work. You're going to have to switch it to ya. Okay? Which is this one. To be residing at the scene of, at the time of. There are some things that it'll use instead of, but most commonly it just attaches. So this is the one, we've already learned this when we said Skagwe Ķuktati. I was born in Skagway. Or you might say Angun Yechatgeti. I'm staying in Angun. But it also works for time. Because for Tlingit, direction and time, they use the same set of suffixes. So this one would be at that time. Talk. Oh, here. We'll do a sample sentence. Because it stays abstract if you don't do sample sentences. Oh, sorry. Oops. Okay, back to our notes. These are officially the son of a beach notes. Okay. So here's a phrase. Talk. Awe. Udze. Kai. Ka. Talk away utzakai ka. I'm going to change this. Good. What do we have here?
Something lazy. Ḳukahaa, isn't that lazy?
Lazy.
Of course I know that one.
Winter, or at the time of winter.
Yes, in the winter. So that's what talk does. So it marks it in that time. Łukahaa. So łukahaa is lazy. Łukahaa is a lazy, whatever the noun is, person. And then, let me switch sources here.
Starve?
Yes. That's a Tlingit, that's a phrase. It's a Tlingit phrase. There's a story that this one elder, his name was Ḳukahaa, George Davis. That's how he started the story. And then tlaq is a noun. And it means famine or starvation. So, for example, there is another, you'd say, ka kat uwagut tlaq. What do you think that's saying? Ka kat uwagut tlaq. We didn't do the T one yet. We're going. This will get us there. So when you say ka kat uwagut, go ahead.
Is it over that it will
On top.
come over them? Oh
On
gosh, there goes the dogs.
They really like that answer.
Sorry.
It's like it's on top of, yay! Yes. So ka kat uwagut literally means walked upon the people. But then you say ka kat uwagut tlaq. That's how you say a famine came upon the people. Because usually kat uwagut is a bad thing to walk onto someone. And that's just a phrase that Tlingit uses sometimes. There was a school teacher in a community who wanted to use Tlingit, which is great. But they want to say that there was a big terrible tlaq, but they couldn't get that underline X sound. So if you just said tlaq kakatuagut, you're saying like a penis walked among the people on top of you. So the elder's like, what are we talking about? So don't drop that X. Okay. Back to Erin. Okay.
I thought, didn't you say that the noun goes before the adjective?
Yes. Or wait. An adjective can go on either side.
On either side.
Yeah. But it has to, there's one type that goes on one, there's one type that goes on the other.
Okay.
So you could say,
So on that last one, you had
yeah.
lazy person or person lazy. Could that be reversed?
Okay, let's go back. So there are a set of what I would say are true adjectives, right? Like sheech. So sheech is female. Sheech douche, a female cat, must come before the noun. Kadzisk, male moose, must come before the noun. Douche shan, old cat, must come after. Sak, husband to be, must come after the noun. But there are these things. So like łukahaa is a verb. Like we'll take a couple of verbs. So we got łukahaa, we've got chitzin, we get yak-e. What are those three things? Łukahaa, chitzin, yak-e.
Lazy, strong, good.
Lazy, strong, good. And these are verbs, right? So it's saying it or they are lazy. It or they are strong. It or they are good. You can convert these into an adjective, but it's a verbal adjective. That's what we call it because it comes from a verb. And remember that suffix we just learned, the relational suffix? Let me. I don't know if I can think of one. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna think of it. I was trying to think of a rounded one. I'm not gonna get it. Okay. But what goes on here? This is a different suffix. It's called the attributive suffix. It follows all of the rules of the relational suffix, except it's always low tone. You put it onto a state verb, especially, to turn that verb into an adjective. But a verbal adjective always comes before the noun. Lazy dog, udzakai cage. Strong woman, shatsini shawat. Good cat, never heard of it. Ayi douche. Not really a cat. I'm a cat person now because my wife and kids want a cat. I didn't want a cat. I take care of a cat. I love my family. I love my family. Okay. So now we get to the T. This is a little bit tricky because all of these three things all mean at. So it's like, I think it loves categories, right? Because if you say, well, how do you say at a place? And you'd be like, well, how is it at that place, right? Which is what Tlingit likes to do. So the first one is residing, resting, being at a place. T is it arrived there. Underline X, it repeatedly goes there or it's moving around there. So these three are all at, but they are slightly different. There's a couple other ones that are not really having to do with direction, really. Well, I guess they do. CH is a little bit different. The CH could mean one of two things. It's either marking who's doing the thing, because Tlingit uses all kinds of third-person pronouns, uses them a lot. So if you need to say who did the thing, Ḥuéexʼ, the brown bear did it. Єxʼ, raven did it. Ḳáaach, I did it. Ḥuéexʼ, you did it. The other thing it might mark is what you did it with. You could say Ťukahaa shauch. How would you say? Ťukahaa shachwadzu. I hit him in the head with a cup. I threw it like a missile back.
Like a metal cup or?
Yeah, because I was freaking mad at them. Okay. Usually it means going after, right? Gudesa yanigut. Where are you going? Hundakahiti de yanchagut. I'm going to the store. Dat ka sa. What you going after? Ká.éexʼ. Going after coffee, right? And then you get the letter N, which is with. Okay, so just like all these, like you get this big list of things. Now we got to start looking through examples. I don't know what this text is that I wrote. Oh. I'm not going to do it. Okay. So here we go. We got two ways to say the name of this little guy. Back to weasel class.
Oh my god.
Squirrel, a weasel? It's got to be, right? Huh? Related to like a... I'm just going to say it's related to the da, the kanatsak. Hold on.
It's him. It's
Let's see how many can I think of? We got to do this first. Okay, da, nusk, nukshiyan. I think these are they're all related in my brain. Ċhatlakach, Gedi, Kushta, Yahuch.
That's C.
Who? Ooh. Sach. Oh, we're going weasel class today. What am I missing? Hold on. What? Okay, there's probably a couple others, but they're getting really obscure. Okay. Ermine. Urban. Nusk.
Wolverine.
Nukshian. Khatlakat.
Fine.
Pokey hair.
Sharp hair. Sagedi.
Beaver.
This should be the final exam. Kushta.
Land otter.
Yacht.
Sea otter.
Kuch. Kunaye. Uh-oh. Not gonna be able to go home tonight. Stay here all night. Ach. Locally, a gopher. Kunaye.
Chipmunk.
Yeah, goodness cheese. I'm glad someone got that one. Because we don't have them on the coast. Oh, we got 2 left. I gotta add some more. What am I gonna do? I think I know what I'm gonna do. Hold on. Oh, look, now we can add so many. So many. Make my whole day. Okay. Kanatsak.
Squirrel.
Yeah, where? Kasak uwa. Kuch. Ach.
Just kidding.
What other weaselly things are there?
Like a squirrel.
It does, yes, it looks like a squirrel. What looks like a squirrel? We don't have them on the coast.
Martin.
Martin's
Marmot.
up there. Which one do you guys think Martin
Marmot.
is? Marmot's up there. There we go. Oh. Dee. There's something in the bone of a martin, because that's what they used to use for an awl. Ach, I heard it. I will. Okay. Okay. Indaqin kanal tzak le kak inach.
Rat.
Flying squirrel.
Flying squirrel.
What about rat?
Uh-oh.
While we're here.
Kak. Kutzin.
Shrews.
True. Yeah. Kutzin.
Vole.
Well, that would also be kakak, I think.
Oh, okay.
Mice.
Or
Rat.
hey,
Ach. That's a rodent.
which one?
Ach. Rabbit.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a rodent.
What? I like
They're rodent adjacent.
Yeah, see, I told you.
It's a rodent.
I don't know.
Just because it's food doesn't make it not a rodent.
I will say it's a rodent. Okay. Who am I to deny you your ability to declare it? Okay. It gets us back to this. Okay. There's 2 ways to say it. Kanatsak and katsak. You're going to start to see this kind of stuff too. You'll say that comes from a verb. Because it's got ka, na, tsak. There's classifier, na conjugation, ka, vertical surface. You could also say katsak. That's how they say it in the interior. On the coast, we say kanatsak. So this is going to be our directional leader. We say kanatsak, kanatsak, nadak, 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 Shikabu Ḥukahaa.
Dog. Kobu. Ḥukahaa.
Nadak. Shikabu Ḥukahaa. So here we have shika. This is another one. There's a couple of these that you say ha shika. Now it's a proper noun. That's also our ancestors. The difference between ha shika and ha shagun, from a strict like how does the language work, ha shagun would literally mean like our components. Ha shuka would mean in front of us. Because where are your ancestors? In front of you. That's how Tlingit works. Ha Ḥukahaa, the ones who went ahead of us. And then you have w on there. But if you just have like a noun, it means just in front of it, right? So here we're using w because we're not talking about the kanatsak doing anything. It's another one. Nadak egu we kanatsak. So take is behind. And here we've got w or is at. That's all we're talking about is where it's at. Nadak kabu we kanatsak. Now look, like, focus also on what happens to this vowel. Kabu, right? Just as we sort of look at these, we've got shikabu, egu, kabu. These are all following the same sets of rules, right? That K turned to a G because we put a suffix on it. Nadak tayiwu we kanatsak. Under the table. Nadak khant han we kanatsak. What changed?
He's actively doing something, so the suffix changed.
Yeah, so now we have a suffix, so he is at next to the table, right? Khant. So these are going to become really important. Khande is towards me. Khant, it made it right next to me, right? I don't know how I got that. Nadakte, whoops, got the tone wrong. Nadakte yanakut we kanatsak. So now we've got nadakte towards the table. This verb yanakut, in the process of walking, we kanatsak. Nadakdach yanakut we kanatsak. Now we got, so nadakde, nadakdach, nadakde, nadakdach. Same, and also high, low. This one, high, high, right? The closed suffix doesn't care about tones. Like, I'm always high, I don't care. Okay, I don't know.
Just out of curiosity, is that kanatsak, is that AAK or AAKW? Because I thought
AAK.
Okay.
Okay. Nadak da yanashich we kanatsak. What's it doing now? It's not yanagut anymore. Running. Yanashich is running. Okay. Let's look at more using drawings. Kayak, Kyle Worrell came up with these concepts. That was really great. So when we start talking about location and direction, we do suffix matching, right? So if they're saying sa, then you should have in there somewhere, right? If it says su, then you should have in there, right? So in this case, if I say sa what am I asking? Tuk-sa-ye-ti wek-ah.
Where is the apple?
Where is the apple? So now we're going to look at where this apple is. All right, say, we'll do this slowly. Tuk. Kach. Ye-ye-ti. Wek-ah. Tuk kach ye-ye-ti wek-ah. Okay. And in English, what do you think that is?
The apple's on that box.
Apples on the box. Tuk ta yi ye-ye-ti wek-ah.
Underneath that box.
Underneath the box. Tuk shukach ye-ye-ti wek-ah.
It's next to that box.
Well, it's kind of sideways. You gotta imagine you're looking straight at that part. How's that?
In front of that box.
Front of the box, yes. Now keep that in mind. I should have put like a set of eyes over there. Tuk take ye-ye-ti wek-ah.
Apples behind the box.
Behind the box. Tuk tuk ye-ye-ti wek-ah.
Apples in the box.
In the box. It's inside the box. So tuk is one where the is optional. You could say itu ye-ye-ti hayuchetangi. Our language is inside of you. I could also say itu ye-ye-ti hayuchetangi. Tu tu. Tuk takka ye-ye-ti wek-ah. There is no on this one, and you're still staring at that.
It's next to that box.
It's next to the box, right? Tuk ye-ye-ti wek-ah.
Between the boxes?
Apples between the boxes, right? Okay. Tuk ye-ye-ti wek-ah.
Is that just sitting in the box?
It's in the box as if it's open, which is also this exact same way you would say it's on top of the box. So Tlingit does have a couple of these areas where it's just like, that's fine, right?
Yeah, what's the difference?
As if, and it took me a long time. It's like, are you sure it's not like tu or yik or something? They're like, no, it's ka. It's like, okay, fine. Languages just work different. It's okay.
That's similar to what you were just saying about pour coffee on, or coffee on.
Yeah, like if I told you, you're not going to put a lid on it and then pour it on top, right? You just get it. The box is open. I say, you're not going to close it and then put it on top of it. Or you might. Like, what's wrong with you?
It will still be the same thing.
Yeah, and every language has this.
Box and put it on, it would be the same as if you opened it.
You can bet.
But if you put it in there and closed it, now it would be tu.
You can bet once I memorize that, I'm gonna close it every time and put it on top.
So we can also ditch the verb and say gusu wikang. And now we go kukkabu wikang. Kuktayibu wikang. I don't know if that, I'll check, that might be long. Oh, okay. Kukshikabu wikang. Kuktewu wikang. Kuktuwu wikang. Kuktakkabu wikang. Takkabu. Ḳukahaa. Whoops. Let me check my tone. Ḳukahaa with kag. Ḳukahaa with kag. Okay.
Oh no.
Now we're gonna have this little cisco. It's gonna move around for us. Scary.
Blur their eyes.
So now it's gonna be standing somewhere, sometimes kind of, I think it's always standing, yeah. So now we got gut sa hun with cisco. So now you see gut sa. So when we go back to when we learned how to ask questions, gusu, gursa, gutsa, gudesa, gudaksa, gunaksa. These are all those suffixes, right? Then we go back to, I was just in Yaukdat the other day when we were there for a language gathering, I think in 2014. And we had like a bunch of Tlingit speakers there, bunch. And a lot of them are gone now. It's so many that were with us at that time. Ḳukahaa was there. And we did sort of an opening thing out at this place called Tlingit. Tz'e is clay, tak is next to. So we're out on Tlingit, and Łushchichu-éexʼ, whose English name is George Ramos, talked to us in Tlingit. It was wonderful. And when we got done, he went and got on his four-wheeler, and he started up. I said, "Zayek Pasatin." He slowly put on like his cool aviator glasses. He goes, "Chaguchsa," and he just took off. So he's like, "Wherever." And he's like, such a cool exit. Okay, we'll do this one. I think we'll be out of time. And like this stuff, it takes a while to absorb. So we got these illustrations. We're talking about these concepts. There is a chapter in Hausa néekw, which also talks about this and has tons of tables. You just have to learn them. And then as we sort of look at stories and speeches, we will see them. So for example, Ḥukahaa with cis.
How
do we translate that?
Standing on the box.
The owl is standing on the box. Ḥukahaa with cis. Might not make sense, but it works.
Standing under the box?
Standing under the box.
I mean, would that be the same thing as if it was lifting it?
Yeah, like the box is little and then the box is...
You could say that though.
Yeah. Or if the box was levitating.
Jesus.
Awesome.
A rush.
Scary. When did I get kicked out? Did I get kicked out?
Just.
You did.
Yeah.
You froze.
I guess that...
You froze, then you got kicked out.
I talk about that cis too much. We're pick a different animal. Okay. I guess we're done with that list. Thoughts or questions before we go?
Yeah, isn't the word for a moose a zisk?
So an owl with the tufts is sisk. A moose is zisk. For some speakers in Tlingit, it's reverse. What? At some point, they were probably called the same thing. What? So if some speakers from Tlingit, we see that and be like, a moose is underneath the box. This box must be gigantic. Oh my God, what's going on in Tlingit?
There is Tlingit.
Well, because Chishuhan, I guess when I get kicked out of the Zoom, that means we're done. So Super Smash class tomorrow, no class on Thursday, back on Tuesday to keep this direction and location. What did I say? What? I thought so. Huh?
Is it tomorrow same time?
Yes, tomorrow same time. Tomorrow 5:30, no class on Thursday. Ţukahaa.
Goodness, cheese.
Cheese.
Not even. Not that grateful. Just a little.